So now, I'm going to leave the light over there this time and look at this and see if I can't see most of the imperfections. And this one actually looks pretty good too. There's a few little spots. I'm going to do this slightly different on these little spots. I'm just going to go down to here for now. And now I'm going to take my light, and instead of holding it like this, I'm going to take it and hold it right here. Okay? And I'm going to see if I can't see any more slightly imperfections. Okay? And hold, like I say, hold your light at an angle. Okay? If you see anything else, have at it. Now that actually worked out pretty good. I think one time I didn't have the light. I had the light too close and I couldn't see enough. Okay, so now I can look at this bottom, and I've got quite a few different marks down here. Some black marks, a blue mark, and I'm going to try to get it off. See, I used to say, oh, I'll just hit that with Kills, a primer, you know, and I'll just do it that way. But because this is so smooth and it's not that fake wood grain stuff, if I put Kills on there, then I have to let the Kills primer dry, and then I've got to lightly sand it. And so, see, there was a black mark, and now that's gone. So I'm going to go around the door knob just a little bit. Here's a mark, and that one looks like it might have gone all the way through the paint, like something's worn on it when the door's open and closed. But now I see a little mark here, and that one's gone. Okay, that's the actual wood behind there, so that's okay. Okay, here's another little mark, and that one's pretty much gone. Here's another one down here. Here's one on the panel, a light scratch. And if you don't lightly sand those, when you get done painting, you're going to see it. You're going to see, oh, there's a scratch, oh, that. And if you only put one coat of paint on here, and you think, oh, that's going to be good enough, it's going to cover it, and you got a blue line here, you got a black line, and you paint it, that could bleed through your paint. Okay? I know that doesn't need to be cleaned because I used the simple green and cleaned all these doors first. Okay? And that was something that wasn't coming out. Now that blue line is gone. All because I spent, how long? 3 seconds on it? There's another little line. And a mark. Here's this nice black scuff mark or a shoe or something. It's just on the surface of the paint, and I got it pretty much gone enough. When I paint these doors, that's going to go away. Okay? That's why I used a little piece of sandpaper for this bit and not my big paddle sander. There's no way I could have got that black mark off as easily with this paddle sander than with just a little piece. You know? Okay, now I'm going to look at this door carefully. I'm going to look around the edges on this door just to see if I missed anything from before. Just do a little once over on it, and I see just a hair of an edge right there where the paint overage, as it pushed over that, I can see it's built up there, and it's going to show if I don't get rid of it. Now with the small one, I could get it with the small one. Okay, depending how much stuff there is there. Okay, just round it off. Okay, that one's gone. Here's another little bit right there. And if you don't care about those edges, go ahead. Don't worry about it. You know? But because this is all smooth, I'm going to worry about it because I don't want that to show when I get all done. Hey, who painted those doors? Hey, VideoJoe painted those doors. Don't they look good? And somebody with an eagle eye looks at all the imperfections and say, that door looks like crap. He should have cleaned better around the hinges where that black stuff was. I can see the remnants of that because the paint didn't cover it. He should have cleaned those off. He should have sanded these edges off. Ooh, these edges are still rough. And this edge here, the actual edge of the doors is rough. And the outside edges, oh, I can still feel it. He should have sanded those. He just tells me he doesn't really care about his finished project. If he doesn't care about his painting, then obviously he doesn't care about other things, and I don't want him doing any work around my house. Forget that. He doesn't care about anything. That's what you get. You get somebody talking like that, they're not going to, half the time, 3/4 of the time, they're not going to tell you. They're just going to tell themselves and convince themselves. Okay? So this is your chance to shut them up right now, right here, for them to say, hey, he did a really good job on those doors. I thought I was going to see something. I was going to pick something up, but they look pretty good to me. And if those doors look pretty good, that tells me he spent some time and effort on them, because I know that those doors were pretty shitty when he first started, and I know that they're 15 years old, and wow, they look almost brand new. And it looks like he spent some time and effort on them with his cleaning, with his sanding, with his prepping, with his wiping down, with his paint rolling techniques, and it looks really good. And he didn't even use a spray rig on there. He didn't have to pay somebody. No, I'm not doing this with a spray rig. And so see, they say all that kind of stuff, and now all of a sudden you're in their good graces, and they want you to do work for them. Okay, so now I'm going to do this edge around here, and it looks really clean. To where sometimes you see little spit marks of paint overage from somebody's spray gun, or some dust buildup, accumulation of something, and you're like, oh, I thought I cleaned that from before. I guess I'll hit it now. So see, I'm almost done with this small little sanding bit. Okay? Do you have to hit all these outside edges? I mean, you could if you wanted. I look at them and they look actually really good. And you could hit this other edge if you wanted, but the paint's going to stick to that, and I've got it wiped off, and I don't, you know, that's not really going to do much. But it's all, how much time and effort do you have that you want to spend on your project? You know what I mean? That's basically what it boils down to. Okay, so now I have my sanding pad. On these tops, on this edge, I like to go all the way up to finish. So I'll do this first, and then when I go up, I'll finish going up. I like to try to have my sanding lines going vertical, not horizontal, in case you ever see them. I don't think you ever will, but do it. There I have to go sideways, that's fine. Then I can go up and down along there. Here I can go sideways around the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to go straight up and down. You may think this hardly, what's the point of doing this if you're hardly even sanding? You know, all you're doing is putting edges, lines in here. You don't have to do it too hard. Easy, firm pressure. Okay? Well, like I say, you could leave it like that, but I'm going to do a once over on this door now. Just with my little stick. Gotta get one of those construction lights, you know? Got to. Put more S lines because I flipped this over. And if you think the lines are getting, if you're seeing the lines too much, just go over them a little bit more. Okay. This piece is about ready to be thrown away, but it's enough to finish this door. Etching my lines in here. A little bit more than the paddle sander. And it gives me a once over to see any other little imperfections. I want to take care of it now. I can. Okay, stand back, take a look at that. I'm liking it a lot. Now, at that point, I'm gonna wipe this whole door down. And because it's got dust film on it, and I'm gonna do it, you know, I've seen some people, they'll just do it with the rag, with the dry rag. I do it with the wet sponge, and I'm gonna do that when I get done with all these doors. I'm just gonna flip this over just to remind me that it's done, because I always like the hinges facing out, and I always want to make sure that when I stand these doors up, that top is top and bottom is bottom. Don't get them mixed up and think, oh, what difference does it make? Because if that bottom of the door is actually the top of the door, it's still going to be okay, but I always like to have everything facing up in case when I'm flipping these around, I mark up anything. I'd rather have everything marked up at the bottom, not the top of the door. And usually you're going to see that anyways. You're going to know where the bottom is if you have door bumpers on there, or when you look at these and you know, okay, all the tall dividers are facing up. Just look for a second and make sure that they're all facing up. And here's another thing that I did too, is before I took all these doors down, I marked them. I cleaned off the top. Because lots of times you get dust buildup. I don't want to mark the door first and then wipe the tops off later, because sometimes it wipes your pencil mark off, and you're like, oh, I can read that later. And then after you get done painting all the doors, you think, okay, just look at the top of the door and it'll tell you where it goes in the house. Closet, master bedroom, guests, or master bedroom, bathroom, upstairs, pantry, guest bedroom, whatever it is. But instead of doing that, what I did this time is I marked them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then on a piece of paper, I wrote down what 1 is, what 2 is, what 3 is, what 4 is. That way, and I marked it. Like on this one, if it was number 1, I've marked a 1 and a 1 at the top of there. In case one of those gets marked off, I can look up there and see, okay, that's door number 1. Where does that go? And on number 6, if you got more than 9 doors, you're gonna have a 6 and you're gonna have a 9, right? So if you look at the door, depending how you look at it later, you might think, okay, is this a 6 or is this a 9? And so under the 6, I'll put a line. Under the 9, I'll put a line. So I know which it is, okay? And so now, you know, yeah, that took a little bit of time and effort, right? That was 1 door. Guess what? I had 10 of these doors, and I had 2 sets of bifold doors. And so with the bifold doors, you got 2 doors, right? So I've got 14 door panels to do. And I thought I would get them all done yesterday, and it was just kicking my butt because I cleaned them first with the simple green, wiped them all down, and then worked on the edges and worked with the sand paper on the edges, and then sometimes on the edge I'll use my my little rasp with the thin side, not the coarse, okay? And I'll do that on the side in certain places, you know. And I even went around the door, these door edges. And speaking of those hinge edges, you know, I don't know. I think these doors have only been painted once, but sometimes you'll have an idea whether or not they've been painted more. See on this edge here, see how you've got pieces that have broken off? This one, it's nice and straight, isn't it? This one's rough. Why is that? Look at this one. Look how rough this one is. See that? You know, I'm going to paint that. I'm not going to worry about it, okay? But they should be all nice and tight and nice and straight like that, right? Well, that tells me whoever put these hinges on, after they painted, the next person, maybe when they painted the doors, they didn't take the hinges off. They just painted around the hinges. And then they whacked the hinges off. Maybe they changed the hinges from bronze to gold, let's say. And they whacked those off. And whoever painted right up against the edge, and it pulled that off. You got to be careful when you take your hinges off. See there? That doesn't look very nice, does it? Look at that. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be nice and straight. See? And so I was real careful when I pulled those off, and did the best I could. And then I lightly, where I saw that, you can see that I sanded that, didn't I? I've sanded all these little edges. I've spent some time on here. This was rougher from before. It's actually a lot smoother than it was after I tried to sand that a little bit and spend a little bit of time. But after I paint, you know, that stuff's gonna go away. And I tried to go around most of these. See, this one I haven't sanded yet, but some of that black I'll get off, a little bit of it. You know, I want it to look like this the best I can, because when I put the new doorknob on, maybe the doorknob doesn't fit exactly where the existing one did, and I'm not going to put the existing ones back on here. If I was going to put the existing ones back on, I would have marked those where they went before I took them off. I would have made sure if the doors were all adjusted properly. When I took the strike plates off, I would have each strike plate for each door marked and put aside with some tape on there, and I'd write down number 1, number 2, number 3, however I mark the doors. You see what I'm saying? And then I put those in a cupboard. That way, the same doorknob that I took out of this one will go in each one of these, so I know it's going to line up exactly where the old mark was. Okay, I'm going to do the best. Like I said, I'm going to do the best I can when I do the paint, but that's just something I do, and especially with the strike plates. If you have all your strike plates already adjusted and you don't mark them, you put all the strike plates back on, you think, hey, what's going on here? Hardly any of these doors close properly. Some of these chatter, some of them won't close all the way. One of them, in fact, won't stay closed, and maybe the strike plate had been reamed out later on down the road because the strike needed to be raised up a little bit. And now, if you don't put that same strike on the same door, you've got to go and find it, or you've got to do it again, you know, to a different strike plate. Okay, but because these are all going to have new hinges, new colored hinges, antique nickel hinges, nickel doorknobs, you know, I'll get all the associated stuff that's the same color and everything. If they don't have nickel hinges, I might have to do just the brushed chrome hinges. You know, nobody's really going to know the difference, are they? But when I get the handles, I'm not going to have brushed chrome handles. Mommy wants nickel. She likes the nickel finish. And the fixtures, some of the fixtures in there are nickel. The knobs on the cabinets are nickel. And she just likes that look, okay? So that's what we're going to do for that, okay? So a few things to keep in mind when you get ready to paint your doors. Okay, well, I think that's all I have for now. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos. I gotta get to work.